G'day from Saturday, the last morning of Roots Tech. I'm so glad I listened to my alarm this morning. It was very tempting to turn it off and turn over, but I made it down to the keynote and boy, wasn't it a surprise. A few years ago I was casting around for people to follow on Twitter and their blogs. I was looking for people who wrote about technology and I came across this guy called David Pogue. Now I knew nothing about him except he was an American and he was into technology. David Pogue was the keynote at Roots Tech this morning. David, why did you come to Roots Tech?
I was invited.
You were invited.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure.
David, I didn't realise you were such a multidimensional person. I just thought you were some geek who wrote articles for a newspaper.
Well, I am that. I am
that. But you came from a background in music. You're a producer on Broadway.
I was a music major in college, and I spent 10 years doing arrangements and conducting and playing the piano for Broadway shows in New York.
Okay, so what led you from work on Broadway to being a geek?
Yes, that's a good question. So I think there's actually more in the brain. I think there's more in common with music and technology than most people think. I think the same parts of the brain probably light up. Computer science and music are both rule-based, but there's creativity on top of it, kind of thing. So, but the literal way it happened was that there was this piece of sheet music software I really wanted as a young man, as a musician in New York, called Finale, and it was $1,000, and I really wanted it. So the local computer club newsletter editor said, "Why don't you review it for our newsletter? They'll send you a copy free." And so I'm like, "Bing! That's a good idea." So for a long time I did both. I did music and I did reviewing stuff. So I kind of drifted that way.
So when did you come to the New York Times?
In 2000 I started.
2000,
so I've been doing that for almost 13 years.
And because I'm ignorant, I didn't know about this Emmy that you have. Can you tell us about that and what the Emmy was for?
I'm a correspondent for a show here called CBS News Sunday Morning. It's on CBS on Sunday mornings. And that Emmy was for a story we did about Google right before they went public. And my producer theorizes that the reason we won it is because of the introduction to that piece where I sat at the grand piano in the Google headquarters atrium and did a song parody about Google to the tune of Boogie Woogie Bugle Boys. But it was the Boogie Woogie Google Boys of Company G. So
we enjoyed so much. I was following Twitter as you were speaking, and there are an amazing number of tweets about.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, you rock, you this, you that. It was fantastic, watching you and watching the tweets as well. But you performed 2 pieces for us today, 2 of your parodies. Is there somewhere where we can have a look at and see further parodies? Have you got lots of them online?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. They're all they're not my music. They're parodies of existing songs. So I don't have the rights to any of them. So there's no official recording. But there have been many cell phone recordings made by people in the audience.
I know an old lady that could have done one on her her tablet this morning.
That's right.
Yeah, in between watching tweets.
So if you go to YouTube, there's a whole bunch of them.
They're fantastic. Someone asked a question about those. Now, tell me what else you do, because I was ignorant and thought you were just a geek who wrote for a newspaper. It seems as though you've got many strings to your bow.
I do. I have multiple jobs. So it's every week in the New York Times, every month in Scientific American, and then I'm a host for Nova, the science show on PBS. I've done 3 miniseries for them, and there's a 4th one airing this winter that we're filming right now. And then CBS Sunday Morning, and I also write these books. I have a computer book series called The Missing Manuals, and I write the ones about Windows, the Mac, and the iPhone.
And the iPhone. So you haven't written any about smartphones or other smartphones? Are you an Apple man?
I am largely. I have both.
I noticed the Apple logo placed nicely on the
That's right.
on the podium.
Yeah,
today.
I run my slideshows off the MacBook Air. It's a really great machine.
Now, if you spoke a lot about apps this morning and gave us some great giggles, what's your dream app that hasn't been developed yet?
Wow, you know, there's 750,000 of them, and I haven't finished going through them all. So it's probably safe to say that almost everything that can be done has been done. Last night I was doing some composing, and I had no sheet music paper. So I thought there must be an app for that. There must be a phone app that lets you notate at the piano. And there were only 2 that I could find, and they're both a little, they both left something to be desired. I mean, part of it's the challenge of operating on a 3-inch screen and your big fat finger on tiny lines of music. And maybe you could get better with them with practice, but they both had some limitations. So I wouldn't mind a decent sheet music software.
So what is the gadget that you can't live without?
Excuse me.
Well, maybe you could live, but...
I don't know. I suppose you know, the phone. I'm with an iPhone right now, and I mean, I'm on it just all day long, constantly. So, and again, that MacBook Air. People say, how are you able to, you know, do 2 columns and these books and speeches and all that? How do you do it? And the answer is I just don't have a lot of downtime, because the MacBook Air is, you know, under 3 pounds, and on airplanes or in waiting rooms or in taxis, I just open it and get going to work. So how do you organize all your stuff? I'm very organized. My email box has all these automatic rules, and I'm a big fan in time-saving software. So I have those typing expanders set up on both my Mac and my Windows machines and my phone. So I type, you know, AD, and that types out my whole address, you know, for example. But I have 400 individual words and phrases that over the years I built up.
Macros.
And I have a fantastic assistant who helps me with logistics.
I asked you about your dream app. How about your dream software? Where would you like to see the iPhone go, or if that seems to be the software, the hardware that's your favourite, where would you like to see it go? What developments would you like to see to that piece of hardware? There
can probably be more integration between some of the big apps. I do an awful lot of traveling, an awful lot of flying, and there's some fantastic apps for the flyer. So, for example, the airlines each have their own app to check in. Delta's is particularly amazing. When you check in at a kiosk at the airport, most airlines make you say, first you put in your credit card to say who you are, and then it asks you to specify what flight you're checking in for. It's like, idiot, how about the next one? You know, I mean, it's really bizarre that they're not smarter, but the Delta one knows what the next flight is that you're on, and with a couple of taps you're booked. You can request an upgrade. You can track your luggage with it, check your flyer miles. You can see where you are in the first class free upgrade list, all in their app. You can rebook if your flight is canceled. And then I have another app called Flight Track that taps into the FAA's database that tells you the truth. The truth, when it's going to take off, really, when it's going to land, the gate, the baggage claim, the terminal. There's a map of where it is in the air. Incredible links to Seat Guru, a website that shows you whether your seat reclines.
I checked that one.
Yeah, exactly. But they're all separate apps.
Yeah.
So it would be nice if Flight Track would let me check in, and you know, like that. So there could be more integration like
collaboration and integration. Well, look, I think I've taken up my allocated time. I just appreciate so much you're speaking with me, and thank you, David,
for sharing
your interesting life with me.
Thank you so much.